Hi everybody! I told my crafty pals, Casey and everybody over at Treasured Memories, that I would do a video to show how I use the Stamperia cream paste and the icing pastes for making the skins. I did some different things, so this is going to sort of show you what did work, what didn't work, just to give you guys an idea of what you can do. So, in the other videos that I watched and stuff, and on Stamperia that first showed me about this, when Chantel showed me, they had molds that they used, but I didn't really have any molds that I could use, so I thought I would use some of the texture fades I have instead. So this is one of the first ones I used, and I screwed it up at the beginning because I put the texture paste on it and I closed it, but of course it couldn't dry that way. So once I opened it and let it dry, these were the first two that I got out of it. Here we go. These ones. These were the first two. So as you can see, they're very, very thin, but they did still work. This is the other side, and as you can see, it's stuck together. I don't know if you can, see, you can see the little goopies on, like how it lifted on the back, but it did still work. So what I plan to do, at least with probably one of these, is add it onto the front of a journal, because I don't like how that journal looks to start with. So I'm actually going to glue it on there and then paint it, because that looks like that was sort of one of the ideas that they did. And then I've also got these other things that I can use on canvases and that kind of stuff. The second time that I did it, I just did on one side, did a thicker layer of it, and I got this. Not sure if you can tell. Sorry, yeah. So, and actually this one is a bit thicker, and it actually peeled off really nicely. It was awesome. So then, and oh yeah, and this, I actually did two of the texture fades. So this is the other one that I did. It was a gear one. So it actually worked too. Hopefully you can see that. Is that going to adjust and show you? Yeah, and same thing. This was really thin because it was the ones that were stuck together. So these are the texture fade. Like I said, this one, and I have another gear one. And as you can see, I actually haven't cleaned this since I peeled it off. So that's how it actually peeled off the second, both times actually. Once it was completely dry, it just peeled off, and it was like that. So it was awesome. Then I also figured, I heard from one of my other friends that you could do icing paste the same kind of way. But what I used for those when I did the icing paste is I had these Spellbinders texture fades. So I had this one that was a gear one, and I had one that was a seashell one. And as you can see, it did not peel off completely, and it actually, once it was dry, it wasn't so bad. But yeah, as you can see, they did not come off very well at all. So I can still use these. I mean, they'll just be part of something else. I'll add them, and you'll only see part of them. And I mean, I can definitely still use them. Yeah, and this is the one from the seashell. So I mean, like I said, it did kind of work, just not great. And then, like I said, I told one of my friends that, and he said, oh well, the video that he had seen, they peeled off no problem. So I thought I would do that. And so I actually used just one of these types of the Sizzix ones, and it peeled off quite well. The only reason it did this is I got ahead of myself, and I tried to pull it off before it was completely dry, so it was not great, but it did work. But when I was prepping to show you guys how this actually works, because I'm actually going to do it with, not with the, like, oh yeah, so this is the icing paste. This is what the Finnabar icing paste. This is the color I think I used to get this one. So yeah, so you do everything in the exact same fashion. Like you do them both the same way. You just spread it out, and then let it dry. So that's what this one was. So yeah, so the icing paste definitely did work, but it worked much better on these kind of texture fades. So like I said, then the other mistake I did make, or that I discovered I made it, is when I was trying to get everything set up to show you guys how to do everything. I thought I'm going to show you how to apply the texture or the cream paste onto the texture fades or the molds if you get, because Stamperia does sell actual molds, which I've ordered a few, of course. I thought, okay, well, I'll show you how that works on this texture fade. The other half I've actually already thrown out because it was actually one that I couldn't get the blue off of, and I made a mistake when I was putting it through my Big Shot, I used the wrong sandwich and I bent it, but I figured that's okay, I can still use the texture fade for this. Well, no, because this, I don't know if you can tell, but this has the cream paste on it, but I can't get it off. It will not peel off. Like, I mean, I can pick it off very, very, like, bits and pieces, but it would take me forever. So I've decided that since I've actually had this texture fade for years and years, and this is the first time I ever used it, I wasn't really that worried about it. But I wanted to show you guys that, because when you do, if you do this technique, you've got to be careful, because I don't know if this is a different type of plastic or what it was, but these Spellbinders texture fades or 3D embossing folders, whatever you want to call them, they did not work for this process. So this is the one, this is the gear one, and then I had a stamp one. So if you've got these and you like these and you think these would be cool for your cream paste or texture paste, do not, icing paste, do not use them, because they are not as good. See if you can find something else to use them on, because otherwise you'll be like me and you'll have folders that you can't use anymore. Not the end of the world. It's not like I don't have stuff that I can use instead. So, like I said, I'm going to show you guys how I actually did this. And this is not me coming up with this. This is, I learned this straight off of Stamperia and off of YouTube. So as you can see, or I'm not sure if you can see, I've actually used almost this entire jar playing with this. So I think on one of the videos I watched, the girl said she thought you could get about 4 or 5 skins out of this. So you can use this for, it is another just type of texture paste. So I mean, you can use it for that same thing. But what's really cool about these is that they're very bendable and malleable, and so that, I mean, you can, if you're going to do a project where it's curved or you want something to have some give, these are really, really cool for that. And like I said, I mean, I plan on using mine for different things. Like I'm going to cover at least one journal with one of them, and that kind of thing. So it is really, really versatile. But as you can see, it does actually use a fair amount for just one. So I'm not sure if you can tell, but I don't have a lot left. So it's a good thing that Casey's getting me more. So basically, with this or with the icing paste, I know when the video for Finnabar that I watched, she used a brush, but I've actually been using a palette knife. And then all you do is you just pick one side. Like I said, you're not going to close it. You're going to leave it open. So I mean, you could do both sides if you want. I'm just going to do one side. So you basically just spread it all like you're spreading your butter on your toast. You do want it to be fairly thick. With the ones that I did that didn't have a lot, or that I closed, they were very thin, and it did still work. But I thought it worked a little bit better when I did the next version that was thicker. So you get a lot of this stuff on there, and you basically just cover all the sections. I'm doing, this one is a brickwork looking one because I actually want something that looks like brick. Like I said, the icing paste does work, but one thing that is kind of neat about using the cream paste is because the cream paste is white, you will be able to paint it or spray it or color it any color you want. So you're not limited to just what the colors were. So I'm not sure quite if you can tell. You can't really tell on this. I mean, I didn't get it. It's not super thick, but it is on there, right? So once and you just make sure that you've got all the different parts of the texture or fade of the mold covered. You don't want any little holes, and you do want to make sure that it goes right to the edge, because as the one video I said, that's sort of what holds it all together. So and then you will probably have some stuff along the edges that isn't texture fade, but of course you can use that when you're attaching everything. So as you can see, I have have next to none left. And what you can do is, if you've got any left on your palette knife, you just scrape it back in, because you don't want to waste any of it, because this stuff is really cool. So I probably could get one more out of here if I wanted to, but and I might, who knows. So once you got that done, you do have to let this dry. I found that for me, as you can, the one icing paste one, like I said, I didn't leave it quite as long as I would have thought, and it was harder to do. So basically you should leave them overnight. So right now it's about 2:30 in the afternoon on Sunday. I probably won't do anything with this until I get home from work tomorrow. I will just leave it sit, because what I have found is the longer you let it sit to dry, like 24 hours at least, you get an easier removal. It comes off way easier. And then you just actually, clean your palette knife, however you normally clean them. So I'm just going to put this aside because it's got to dry. And then once it is dry, you just peel it off. So this is the icing paste one. I sampled one I did so I could show you how it peels off. The cream paste peels off the exact same way. So as you can see, this is another texture fade. And you just pick a corner. I started this just so you guys didn't have to see me picking at the corner. And then you just very slowly peel it off. And like I said, this one actually has been sitting and drying for a couple days now, probably, because I think I did this on Thursday, maybe Friday, because I wanted you guys to see. I wanted to be able to show you how I peeled it off. And like I said, I think I said, if you go right to the edges, you'll have just a little bit at the edge. And like I said, for me, I use my Tim Holtz pokey tool, whatever this is called. I call it a pokey tool because my fingernails don't work. But there you go. Hey, this one pulled off. And as you can see, that one, same thing. That one pulled off completely clean, other than a couple of little blips at the edges. So obviously the issue was with those. There's obviously a different kind of plastic in those Spellbinders ones. So if you're not sure whether your texture fade will work or not, just do a very little corner of it. And then you can see that way if it doesn't pick off, you probably would be able to get most of it off. Like I said, I could probably sit here and pick this off, spend forever in a day and pick it all off. I probably could soak it and get it off. I might even try to see if that will work, but because I already sort of broke this texture fade, I wasn't really gonna worry about it. Like I said, I broke it. I've had it for years and haven't used it, so I'm kind of lazy, I'll admit, and I'm just not going to bother picking it off. But yeah, so just be careful. Stamperia that makes the cream paste that Casey and Treasured Memories are bringing in also does have molds that you can buy. I've actually bought myself some. It'll peel off of those no problem because they're made specifically for this. So I hope you guys liked my tutorial. I hope it made sense, and hope you guys have fun making your own little skins. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.